Welcome to Fantasy Football Aces. It's your boy, William Wolf. I'm back. And we got a special episode today between the top two seeds in the Diamond League, the 1 seed versus the 2 seed. This is a man in the Diamond who arguably is the most successful player in the Diamond. I beg to differ personally, but if you ask our peers in the Diamond, I think they more so would choose this man as the most successful person in the. I think it's because he's a nicer guy. He's James O. I've known him since high school. He goes by Korea in the Diamond. He's like me. He doesn't change his name every week. Come on, James. He's got the Heinz Ward on, repping for Korea. Hey, you can get comfortable and then just get the mic close to you. That's all like a mistake that some people make here.
All right.
So I'm gonna no, I'm not gonna pull it up yet, but we'll pull it up in a minute when we start talking about it. First of all, just give me your overall thoughts in the Diamond. Talk about, how this league is started, how long you've been in the Diamond with the rest of us. Oof. And like I said, the success that you've had in the Diamond so far. And we all know you as being a competitor. People talk about the 4 a.m. wake ups. You weren't the only one doing that. I was on that too.
Dedication, man. But
I agree.
Calling me out.
But people notice with you for sure.
Especially nowadays, transactions all pop up on the apps.
I like
so
that.
So you get like 4 o'clock notifications. But yeah, been in the Diamond since high school? 2003 or so? Almost 20 years or so.
We've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, it's a strong league. Very, very competitive.
Yeah,
a lot of shit talking, but that's what makes it great.
I think that there's a few guys in our league that aren't as competitive as everybody else. Yeah. But you know what? If there was everybody like you and I think that it would make the league almost impossible.
Yeah, there's everybody has that knowledge. Everybody, the thing about the league is everybody
it's not
has
just knowledge though. It's like
everybody
being competitive.
Everybody has who they like, Nobody follows the book. That's what makes it so great. Because everybody knows, I like this guy. Like, I love how we switched to salary.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you haven't had any success in salary yet. I know you get, like I said, in the Diamond, everybody's like, oh, James is notoriously had the most success, but like, you haven't done anything in the salary.
So we switched to salary, 4 years ago? 4 years ago? Yeah, I think my championship drought probably going on 5 or 6 years right now. So hopefully this year's changed. I felt good coming in after the draft.
Yeah, you had a good draft.
I did, but man, Chubb went down. That was heartbreaking. And then I thought I found Achane.
Did you pick up Achane or did
No, I picked him up.
You picked him up, but you picked him up like a week ahead of the time.
A few weeks before.
And you didn't really reap the benefits. You only got like 1 good week out of him.
Yeah, no, he had 2, and then he got hurt on the
You
second
missed
week.
the first one though.
Yeah,
obviously.
So
you couldn't predict that though.
No, it was like I just know that Mike McDaniels, he has that good offense.
Yeah,
they're good for 2 running backs because man, their offense is so good.
I know.
Of course, you got Mostert, man. Mostert's. Oof.
Yeah, he's playing against the Eagles this week, so. I don't expect him to do anything this week. Eagles are literally the best team in the NFL against the run.
Yeah.
But, I'm hoping, he catches the ball 6 or 7 times. That'll make up for it. The good running backs, and I obviously have a lot of them, is the ones that even when they have tough matchups, they'll get like 5 to 6, 7 catches for you. Yeah. And then that kind of like, gives you like a 13, 14 point, and that's really all you need. Like, I think you're one of the few people in our league that understands that it's not about the name, it's about the number. And a lot of times, you know, people get so caught up with the name and the potential and all these different variables. But really, at the end of the day, man, you need horses. And when I say horses, I don't mean running backs. I mean just guys that are dogs that are going to score a lot of points for you.
Targets.
But then you need guys that just can give you a number, you know, here and there. Like I'm starting a little sneaky Curtis Samuel against you this week. You used him. Yeah, I know you used him.
He's getting it.
You know, I don't expect him to do anything, but guess what? You know, he's getting 60 yards a game, 50 yards a game, and you know,
he's getting the stats that Jahan Dotson is supposed to get.
Right.
He's been missing.
Well, that's the thing I talked about that on my last podcast is that the thing is with Sam Howell is that his first read is going to be Terry McLaurin most of the time, right? And rookie quarterbacks, even up into the third or fourth year, they have a hard time getting to their third or fourth read. Yeah. So what's happening is he's looking at Terry and then he's looking at Logan Thomas or Samuel, and that's his 1-2, and then he's done after that. After that, he's trying to scramble. He tries to scramble, and if he's not looking at him first, and he's looking at Samuel or Logan in the middle of the field, because for rookies, reading the middle of the field's easier for them. It's way easier than reading what's going on the outside. And Dotson's just suffering.
He's talented. He's talented, but he's not getting it.
So talk about your draft here. I'm going to pull it up on the monitor. And then we obviously know that you lost out on Chubb, but we'll talk about that too. Obviously, FFA was raving about Chubb before the year. He was my number one running back, and then we bid against each other on that one.
Yeah.
We'll talk about your draft here. I got it pulled up.
Okay.
And what your thought process was going in, and before you answer that, keep in mind last year you did a bizarre thing with those three receivers.
Oh yeah.
So talk about your thought process last year with the draft and go through that, and then how you wanted to come into this draft and just the overall feeling of both, and just testing different strategies.
Out my secrets.
Testing different strategies though, because I've done it too. 3 years ago, I tried the whole mid kind of approach with Russell Wilson, and I had a bunch of guys that are like $20 to $30, and you get a good balanced team, but it just
you need those
so go ahead.
Dogs. So last year it was auction. I ended up with Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. Literally went with a zero running back approach. Yeah, it was I would say it's probably the first that has happened in the Diamond where it's been like that, but
because it's salary, which is important to know for context. You literally used all your money with them and Herbert.
Yeah.
So you had literally no money to get running backs, opposed to like the Snake philosophy where you could do that, but then you can still get running backs later.
Snake is
in salary. You can't do that because once you spent your money, you were a prisoner. And
basically, so I had like a RB2 in my RB1 spot, and then every week I was just looking for that fill in for that RB2. Eventually, I think down the line, I traded Justin Jefferson for Tony Pollard and some other receiver.
Right.
Yeah, so that kind of worked out. I made playoffs, but I didn't get too far.
What was your strategy? Were you planning on doing that? And
no. So
talk about
the thing about
year.
the auction. You go into the auction thinking you have a plan. I know everybody has their set values on how much they want to spend at the position, but once you're in the draft, if you see a value in somebody, you sort of have to adjust. You have to adjust in how you approach the rest of your draft. Say like Nick Chubb, he was very hot. Tony Pollard, he was very hot. So I'm sure you're going to spend a lot more money than you would have initially thought you would, and then that takes away from the rest of your roster. So for me, it was more of adjusting. Same thing for this year. This year, I know I wanted.
You knew that you weren't going to do that.
No. Because every year is different. Every year is different. Every coaching schemes are all different. Personnel all different. So this year, I went into the draft. I knew that I wanted a top running back. Pollard, I've been watching Fantasy Football Aces. No, so Pollard, Chubb. I wanted at least one of those. I've never had Chubb before, but he's like a solid running back.
I love what he brings to the table, and then the offensive line is so good in Cleveland that he was gonna have a good year. I'd say Pollard so far is not having the $60 kind of year that you would expect, but it's still good though. Don't get me wrong; like you're getting what
just that offense.
It just
Mike McCarthy.
But last week Pollard had 7 catches or something like that, and if he has that kind of that's the key to being a top 3 running back when you start getting those catches. So obviously Chubb went out. I love the Mike Evans pick late. I know Shane was talking trash about that in the beginning, and I remember saying specifically back to him, I don't know if you remember, I said, listen, but the thing you're not considering is that he was of immense value. It wasn't like
he wasn't a hot pick.
You can't go for players. You can't look at a roster black and white and be like, oh, I don't like this guy, and this guy. You have to consider the fact of where people were drafted.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So for example, Mike Evans is a fucking phenomenal pick this year in snake or salary because he was drafted for $10 and or 5th or 6th round, and then you're getting like 3rd round value for him or $20 value for him. He's slowed down a little bit.
It's because it drops.
Yeah,
he would have had big weeks past 2 weeks, but
Atlanta's going to be a very tough matchup this week.
But
Terrell, he's an elite corner. Atlanta is very good against the pass.
Well, Bucks offense, they haven't been getting it done this past 2 weeks. Detroit was a good defense, but Mike's been, having it rough with the drops. But I think this week, he does get a touchdown just because rivalry game, So I think I'm due for a touchdown for Mike. I am kind of worried about the Josh Allen Diggs matchup because either Buffalo's just gonna score a lot and they're just gonna tone it down second half, and that means Josh will get like 18 or so. Diggs, I think
were you
15.
Were you planning on getting the Diggs?
Oh yeah,
Allen stack before the draft started?
Yeah, I love doing that.
You wanted to do that before the
oh
draft?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So once I knew I could get Diggs, so I had a few players in mind. As long as I knew I could get one of those top wide receivers, I would pay whatever it took to get that quarterback because I love that. I would ride.
You got Allen for probably like 28.
Yeah, because nobody likes these age receivers. Yeah, but I mean he had a great camp.
No, I love Josh Allen. I just, for me personally, I knew this is hilarious to say. I knew that I was going to get Justin Fields for like $20, so that would save me money. Obviously, I didn't predict I was going to get in a bidding war with Shane about that because Shane wanted him just as badly.
Did he have a quarterback at the time?
No, so that was the problem, and something I learned this year, and I've learned something every year of different things I want to take away from the draft. And one of the things I took away from this past draft is if I have a list of guys that I want, I'm never going to wait for the last guy anymore. Because then at that point, I have to fucking keep bidding on him, or else I wasn't going to get stuck with one of these other run quarterbacks. And the ironic thing about it now is that I'm not even starting Fields. I'm starting Stafford because Fields got hurt. Yeah. But when you have those running quarterbacks, you always have to have a plan that they're going to possibly get hurt. And I was very excited and happy when I got Stafford in free agency.
He's playing
because I saw how good they were with Puka and whatnot. And then I picked him up 2 to 3 weeks prior to Kupp coming back with the anticipation of that. I'm like, man, this guy can be an elite quarterback for fantasy when he has Kupp and company, but he hasn't thrown for touchdowns this year. The funny thing is though, I'm really excited about this week because Kyren Williams is out. I think that makes them have to throw more.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to ask you, how do you think Kyren Williams that effect's going to be?
I think it's good. Because they've been running so much in the goal line that I'm like, now none of those guys are going to be what Kyren was.
I thought Evans was going to get a first shot.
Of course.
They said they said no, he's back down to third
but
string.
I don't even think that's true either. Sean, he's been notorious for bullshitting.
I mean, Henderson knows the playbook. I feel like he got the first shot.
I think they're just gonna fucking spread that thing around.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell they're gonna do, but you got really lucky that Roshan got concussed again.
It was pre-planned.
No. 1 week is fine.
Oh yeah. Two is rare. You're right.
Rare. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
Well,
2-week concussion protocol.
It must have been pretty bad. I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, obviously, but I don't think anybody could have planned for that. The bad thing with Foreman is, and it's still a great start no matter what, like compared to what you would have had to do, is that they're with the backup quarterback. I imagine that they're going to be trying to stop the run pretty hard. They're not going to. You would imagine that they're going to be losing, and Foreman's. I'm not afraid of him. Let's just put it like that. But it's better than what you would have had to do. So we both have people missing this week. You know, you got
a lot on bye.
I got Nico, Tony Pollard, and Hopkins on bye, and then Justin Fields hurt, and then obviously you got Chubb gone, you got HN hurt, and then you have Herbert hurt. So there's no excuses as far as that stuff's concerned. It's not our elite team and elite matchup that we probably can maybe face each other in the playoffs with our team fully healthy.
Nice. Oh yeah,
but it's still a 1-2 seed showdown. I think the Tampa Bay versus Washington defensive thing is very fun too, because they're both good matchups. We both. I've always noticed that we both are pretty sharp when it comes to getting defenses and kickers.
Oh, yeah.
Because we understand. I respect this about you more than anybody in the league, and that includes that includes everybody, is that you understand that getting that defense and kicker sometimes makes a big difference. And I think people forget that, buddy, the defense is, if you have a good defense starting every week, they can score more than your receivers.
That's true. Like Dallas. Dallas was putting up 20 plus.
Yeah, and those, when you have one of those kind of weeks, you win. You waited until the end of the week, obviously, because you wanted to see which running back was going to start.
Oh, I'm glad you noticed
that. I obviously didn't want to wait. We both had our kickers on buys this week.
Yeah.
And I went for Hopkins right away. My thought process with that is that he's had a bye this already, right? And if you take away the bye, he's been one of the most productive kickers in the NFL.
So you're going to keep him the whole season?
Probably.
Okay.
The reason I say that, and the reason it being, is because their defense is so fucking good that I think their offense is mediocre, that it's going to be a lot of field goal contests, I believe.
I can see that.
I believe that they're going to get turnovers, get them in the red zone. They're not going to be able to score. And Hopkins, most importantly, when I look at kickers, obviously in theory, you would want guys that score a lot of points. But I like kickers that are not missing their 50-yarders. Like if I see a guy miss like 1 or 2 50-yarders, I just cut him because I'm like, dude, that's your opportunity to score points for me. And if you can't make that kick, then I don't want you. I like guys in domes. I've always liked Koo because of that.
What are you going to do in the winter then?
That's one of my concerns. I was hoping that you dropped your kicker.
No.
And then I was gonna bid all my money on him.
Aubrey?
Yeah. And
see, that's why I kept him.
Yeah, I
kept him. I love him.
I know. And then but I'm probably gonna keep him for a long time, and we'll see what happens. People drop kickers all the time. We'll figure it out. I'll figure that out. I'm not worried. But I like Hopkins. I like the matchups that he has next few weeks. And I know Yahoo doesn't like him, but I like him more than Yahoo. And sometimes that happens. Like, I like players more than Yahoo does.
Yahoo's just the baseline. It's just what you do with the knowledge.
No, it's smart though. I mean, they know those. That's not Yahoo. It's algorithms and it's AI, and I respect it. But at the same time, they're like, for example, my team is projected like 120 every week now when it's fully healthy. And with that same roster, they were predicting only like 107, and before they caught up to like what I thought I saw, you know what I mean? So they're not going to be always on point right away. But yeah, man, in this matchup, you already hit it on the head. I think I'm going to win if Josh Allen and Diggs get contained against Belichick.
Very possible.
And I think if they have a good game, then you're gonna win. I think that's as simple as it is. That's as simple as our matchup is this week. You obviously your running backs are very weak.
Yeah.
But
I do think
Rashad
Rashad White's going to get a touchdown this week because he's been had what two bad weeks.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I love my matchups. Your matchups against me this week.
Yeah, my matchups are horrible.
Yes, and mine aren't great either. Yeah. Mostert's going against Philly, but that doesn't. But I like sometimes it's about defense. I think we're going to be in a low scoring matchup this week. You know, in the low 100s.
Yeah.
And
is it whoever hits 100 wins?
Something like that. And for you, that path is Diggs and Allen balling out.
Yeah.
I love that Keenan Allen's going against a tough Kansas City team.
No, but I like Keenan Allen. Man, Herbert loves Keenan Allen. So I'm hoping for at least 15.
He's matchup proof.
Yeah. So
but I can't ask for much more than Kansas City. I like that matchup. They got good corners. They're gonna be trying to stop them. And then, you know, I think Atlanta's got one of the better defenses in the league right now, and so I like those matchups. And then, you know, I guess one fun thing is that Laporta and Andrews are going head to head this week.
Oh yeah, literally, they are. Dude. They're
Baltimore versus Detroit, so that's
one
fun.
Of the top two
yeah, that's fun.
Laporta's a big surprise.
Yeah, you made a good pickup with him, man. That's the kind of pickup you make that wins you leagues because tight ends are just. If you don't draft one like I did, I drafted Andrews. If you don't draft one, but then you find one like that, that's so big.
After the top three, everybody's pretty much the same. Just throwing the darts out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would even go as far as saying I talked about this on one of my last podcasts as well. I said it's Kelsey, then you got a tier of like guys that are hit or miss. It's Andrews, Laporta, Kittle. And
you're more high on Kittle than I am.
But I put him in the same category because look, he has one of those games that he scores 3 touchdowns.
Okay, he will help you win games, but for like a floor, you don't know what he's gonna get.
What the fuck? I agreed. He has a 0 floor, literally. But Laporta threw out like what a 4-pointer last week. I mean,
yeah, but for Laporta, he's more involved in the offense. As far as Kittle, like they love to, they want to focus on CMC. They want to have him block. He's a great blocker.
I just put him in the same tier though. Like
it's no doubt. Like, he could blow up.
Exactly. And then that's the tier. And then after that, it's literally dart throws. Yeah. Dart throw. So there's like 4 guys in that tier, and I would have put Andrews above that tier. I would have put him like 1 minus of Kelsey, just barely off him. But from what I've seen from Andrews this year, just being completely objective. He looks really slow.
Does he?
Yeah, I watch him. Obviously, he's my player, and I'm just like, this sucks. I wouldn't have drafted him if. Don't get me wrong. He's doing good. He's very good. But it's not.
Is he getting the targets? Is Lamar targeting him?
Yes. I mean, he likes to target Flowers, and the offense isn't that good. That's the other problem. But the point is he's slow, man. He looks slow, and that's. It's not fun when you could just tell like, hey, this is the end. It's getting into the end here. I'd be more happy to have Laporta right now.
It's gonna be sad for the tight ends. Andrews going down, Kelsey starting to get hurt nowadays.
I think Kelsey's fine, man.
Man, a lot more injuries this year than before.
It happens though. You get hurt.
Age, yeah.
You get hurt.
I don't even Taylor Swift now. So.
I don't even think it's the age. I don't really think it's the age. I think he's fine. So you're obviously going to pick yourself in this matchup.
I do love myself, actually. Yeah, so. I do think I'm going to give you your first loss. I'm
not like I have picked against myself this year. I picked against myself in the very beginning of the year against Automatic Pickens. I was an underdog, and this is the first week that I'm an underdog again, according to Yahoo. But I don't think I'm an underdog this week. I think this is a true.
I think it's a very even. Yeah, I think it's like you said, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. That's the matchup.
I think that I'm gonna win this week because I think Jameson Williams catches a long touchdown.
Okay.
Moving on to High Guerrilla Warfare versus Team 2 Elite.
Okay.
Let me know what you think about this matchup. Talk about the different teams too. What you think of the 2 teams.
Okay.
And
so for High Guerrilla Warfare, I've told him this multiple times. I'm so glad that you're making Purdy your like every week start, because Lawrence, he hasn't been getting it done.
So you're cheering for High then?
No. Well, I'm glad that
he.
I'm glad he finally listened to me.
Do you guys? You're listening. You guys are together.
No. It's more like within the Diamond, we're like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?
Yeah, but you're a competitor. That doesn't even make sense to me.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna give him intel if I'm playing him, but I've always told him Purdy's a better pick than Trevor Lawrence because Trevor Lawrence is such a 15, 16 type guy this year. Let me see who else he has. Metcalf, Hurt, Love Pickens, Godwin, hit and miss, Pacheco. Dude, he's playing great this year. Pacheco. And then Gibbs. He has the floor to himself now. Josh Downs with Minshew, Goddard. Okay. Let me see Lee's team. I love Lee's matchup with Herbert. Christian Kirk did really well for him. Let me see. Herbert versus KC. London. Not a big fan of him, but I mean, he's putting up numbers lately. Christian Watson, due for a long touchdown.
I don't know. Surtain's going to be on him, though.
Yeah. Not a big fan of Madison. Never was, but just me personally, Hawkinson, he's good. Jones, is he fully healthy? He's been on and off.
They're saying he's going to play, but here, I just got an update on Christian McCaffrey say he's going to play.
Yeah.
I'll keep following that as much as I can, but I think Aaron Jones is going to play today.
Okay. This matchup, I'm going to pick High. He's down there in the rankings, but I think he has good matchups this week. Let me see. Especially with Purdy. I feel like he'll get you at least 2 touchdowns on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that he's in a little bit of a trouble here if Godwin doesn't. I mean, I'm sorry, if Metcalf doesn't play.
Mm-hmm.
He's questionable, and they're saying they're gonna wait till warm-ups. They're playing against the Cardinals this week, and JSN's kind of been playing better. I think they might rest Metcalf. If that happens, High's gonna be scrambling. He doesn't even have anybody to start.
He doesn't have any backup.
I know he's probably eyeing people on the waivers. Specifically Kadarius Toney, because Kadarius plays at 4:00, and I think he might. He'll pick him up. Trust me. That's who he's eyeing.
Is that the best player though? I mean, he's such a hit or miss.
Yeah, but I mean, 4:00, you don't have many choices at that point. So that would be what he's going to end up pivoting to, in my opinion. He'll probably end up dropping somebody like I don't even know who he could drop. So he's in a lot of trouble. I guess he would move Downs. Never mind, I lied. He would move Downs to receiver and then put Kareem Hunt in. But Kareem Hunt is questionable too. I think in this matchup, if Aaron Jones plays, I'm gonna roll with Team 2 Elite.
Okay.
I think High's team, man, it's not bad on paper, man. It just hasn't been. But at the end of the day, dude, they're not scoring points. It's just it's not a good ball club, and he's miserable in the Diamond, but he's having a good year in the Platinum. Man. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's pretty much. This is going to be his worst year in the Diamond so far. I think there's no way he's going to come back.
This year in the Diamond's tough.
Right.
It's very tough. It's what
top heavy for sure.
Top 5 or at least
locked.
4 and 2.
I think they're locked.
Yeah.
Top 5 are locked. They have a good team. You have
7 fighting for that 6th spot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they're good teams too.
Yeah.
All 5 of the top teams are good in my opinion. Moving on to Bishop Sycamore. By the way, I took Team 2 Elite here, so I haven't changed my pick here. Things do change, obviously, when you find out if people are healthy or not. But moving on to Comeback Kid and kicker Bishop Sycamore. Also, don't forget to just give your opinion on the teams and their self, and maybe what you thought to be before the year started and how you feel about them now.
Okay. Let me see. So we got Comeback Kid, Jared Goff. He's been playing really well. Dome or not, he's just been playing really well. Dan Campbell's getting it done. Let's see. Jacoby Myers, big surprise.
Yeah, he's a nice hit, man.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Zay Flowers, he's an option. Okay. Devontae Smith, I feel like he's gonna blow up this week because he's been very quiet.
Yeah,
I have him in my other league, so Let me see. Jacobs, Workhorse. Comeback Kids has a good team. Jonathan Taylor, Kittle.
I thought the same thing, man. And for some reason, it's just like High's team. It's just not doing anything.
Yeah, and he has T. Higgins on the bench. I mean, he's been quiet, but I think Joe Burrow gets it done. Like from now on, let's see. Bishop. I was looking at Kicker's team. I thought he had a very good team, but man, he's on a big losing streak.
He had a good team. It's shit now.
Let me see. Tua, Ridley's been real quiet.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas, 10 every week.
Not really.
He's been catching 6 passes for like 50 yards. I'm not saying that's good, but that's just wide receiver 3, I guess, flex.
8 points a week. That's his average. 7, 11, 8, 7, 8, 9, 8. I mean, it's just
Dobbs, hit or miss. Bijan, he doesn't get enough touches. Never a big fan of Najee Harris.
He's terrible.
Yeah, they need to get Warren up in there. Jonnu Smith, he's running more routes than Pitts.
Yeah, but he's 50-50. I mean, if you're starting a 50-50 tight end, dude, that's embarrassing.
Let me see.
And he's on the same team as Bijan. Like, your ceiling comes down. I just think his team is just straight.
I gotta go
shit.
with Comeback Kid. I like his team a lot, especially with these people stepping off Goff and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I think Comeback Kid actually has a realistic chance of making a comeback in the season, hence his name. Yeah, I like his team. It's not really performing, but he needs Jonathan Taylor to get more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Obviously, but outside of that, he's got Dameon Pierce on bye this week. He's got a good ball club. Right? It's a really good. It's a good team.
And his main guys, he does have that stack with Burrow and Higgins if that comes alive.
Yeah, he has a good team, man. And he has a deep team to get through these. This is the time of season that matters more. Moving on to the Criminals, who last night he was pretty drunk. I think he
he was big on that Florida State win.
He was talking a lot of trash in the diamond. He hates my guts. He thinks I'm a narcissist. So
man, that's dude, we should have a reality TV show with our chats, man.
Me and him would probably I'd beat his ass in front of everybody.
Live?
Yeah, I'd beat his ass in front of everybody.
Right.
But no, overall, man, he's just a funny guy.
It's very entertaining.
I'm over that though. Yeah, you will never see that. You'll never get any entertainment out of me again out of it. I'm moving on with my life.
That's good.
Yeah, that shit's it's what's it called? Bad energy, man. I'm a happy guy, man. And he's the only person that brings me down. So
that's what happens when you get like 12 brothers in the league together for that long of a time, and you guys gonna bump. Everybody bumps heads.
Yeah.
Let's see. I am nice versus the Criminals. I think it's a mistake that Criminals is starting Cousins versus SF. He's not starting a defense. He's taking a loss this week.
Dude, and then on top of that, he's starting Mims and Mason. Because he doesn't want to drop his bum-ass bench. His bench, look at his bench.
Okay, so he has... Okay, I can see Bigsby. He's handcuffing him for...
Dude, but who's going to pick him up if he dropped him?
Dude, with all these injuries, though?
Who's going to pick up Bigsby if he drops Bigsby? Are you?
I might.
Okay.
I need that running back, too.
Well, there you go.
You never know. There's so many injuries. How many running backs are just injured, like left and right?
You would. I don't think anybody else would.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz, people are really going to go after him.
I mean, like you said, it's a dart throw with the tight end position.
My point is, man, every week matters.
Yes, it does.
Dude, you need to win,
yes, it
bro.
Does.
And his philosophy is dumb, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being honest. It's dumb. Like, you need to win. Like, if you didn't learn that last year, like, you went on like a 6L streak. Like, every week matters, man.
Yeah, every week does matter. So I saw another team in the Diamond. They had a lot of people on buys and injuries, and they're not making any moves.
Matos, he's the least competitive person in our league.
Dude, man,
I mean,
Kyle might get a free win this week.
I would want him out of the league, but honestly, we need these kind of players in the league, or else it's too competitive.
It's very competitive. Let's see, Jordan Love, Denver. Okay, he has a good matchup there. Gabe Davis. I don't think he's gonna have that good of a game. Just because same philosophy with Josh Allen and Diggs. Sun God, okay, he's good. Amari Cooper. Deshaun say he's playing, but Deshaun's hit or miss too.
Yeah, but the Colts have been so bad against receivers. I love Amari Cooper this week.
No, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I thought about Elijah Moore, but
he sucks, man.
he's getting targeted. He's getting like I think 7-8 targets a game, but
Yeah.
he's catching 5 for like 40.
He sucks. I won't want that guy.
Ooh, Kamara. Is that he traded for Kamara, didn't he?
Yeah, it was
Dude, that was
great move
that
by
was
him.
huge. Kamara, okay. Deontay Johnson. I mean, Shane already wrote this in stone, but it looks like I Am Nice is gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he's so cocky. He thinks that he's gonna win this week without him. ETN had a way better game than I thought he would against the Saints, and Kamara just matched it. Kamara said, "Okay, I'll just match that." And when that happens, that nulls that. The only path that I see for Shane winning this matchup is if Walker goes off for like 4 touchdowns, which is possible.
Yeah, Charbonnet's not playing.
It's definitely possible. So I will say that's possible. But outside of that, I don't like the Deontay Johnson start. If it was me, I would start Atwell. Personally,
as a third though.
Yeah, I would.
Just because you think they're going pass heavy.
Not only that, but I think he's due to catch a long touchdown. He played 90% plus snaps last week, so that means they're playing a ton of 3 receiver sets. And on top of that, I've never been a fan of Johnson. On top of that, he's coming off of a really significant hamstring injury. Yeah. I don't predict that he's just going to come back and. First of all, I was never a fan, but second of all, like it's a dicey situation.
Hit or miss with Kenny Pickett.
Too. I mean? I guess if you're starting Deontay over Atwell, you're saying it's a floor play. And because he doesn't have a higher ceiling than Atwell. Atwell can catch a 60, 70-yard bomb.
Deontay does have a higher floor.
It's just me. Yeah. I would be starting Atwell personally. But outside of that, I Am Nice. The one thing about his team, it's been bad all year. The one thing about his team that's strong, though, is San Fran and Tucker. Those are that, and I really value those kind of things, like I do personally. And he has a really good kicker in defense, and people don't even realize that.
But don't you think Tucker? I feel like this year Tucker's been just a name.
Yeah, but he scored 19
last week. Yeah, besides last week, he wasn't average. He was very pedestrian.
Yeah, Baltimore's been pedestrian offense so far this year. But I took I Am Nice as well. I think that Yahoo's spot on with these projections right here in this matchup. You can't not start 3 people, essentially.
Yeah,
Mims,
that's huge.
Mason, and
Mims
defense.
might get one of those long ones. I mean, depends on Russ. But
he hasn't been playing at all, bro.
Let's see.
I mean, if I was him, I would have started Kadarius Toney over Mims. But I don't know, man.
You're a big fan of Toney?
No, I'm not. I've given up on the guy. But we're talking about him against Mims.
They're the same to me, honestly, because Rashee Rice over at KC, he's gonna get him and
Mims.
Kelsey.
Mims is not playing though. Look at this. He's had one good game, and that was with Judy.
He's basically just
Judy
one of those.
Out.
Yeah, it's just one of those deep throws.
And he's literally, and more importantly than any of that, I want to emphasize snap counts. He's not playing. Toney's playing. Toney's, Justin Watson's hurt. He's gonna get a little bit more snaps this week. He's healthy now. I don't like Toney.
Okay, he's playing, but I mean, as far as the KC wide receiver,
I'm starting him over Mims.
You have Sky Moore, like he's out there all the time. He's not producing at all. So
right.
KC receivers, they all the same to me. Except for Rashee Rice, he's actually come up and coming.
I like Rashee Rice a lot. But yeah, I'm not saying that he's great or anything. I'm just saying I would start him over Mims.
Yeah.
I don't want to see how you. I don't know. I don't want to get it, man. But
So I mean, you got to figure I Am Nice is gonna win.
I want him to lose anyway, so it doesn't bother me. Hurt Thielens versus Automatic Pickens. This is John's team, who changed his name for the weirdest. He's never changed his name in 6 years, and then all of a sudden he changes his name.
He's big on Thielens become like a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, he's amazing this year.
Man.
I saw your little Instagram thing. That was funny.
Singers. Dude, he's balling
all those
out.
guys were in there
What is
too.
he right now? Wide receiver 3 or something? 4?
He's like top 5.
He's up there.
Top 10.
Dang.
But he's good, man. I don't predict that it's going to continue, but he's doing well.
All right, let's see here. Hurt Thielens, Lamar. Lamar hasn't been playing that well, has he? He hasn't really blown up. I mean, 30, 30, 25. Okay, 20. Okay. All right, let me. Sutton. Not a fan of Sutton, even if it is wide receiver 1. Devontae Adams, squeaky wheel against Chicago. Hopefully he gets a touchdown. Dude, Olave's been disappointing. Yeah, him and Carr, they're not on the same page. Barkley. He's starting McKinnon. Does he have nobody to start besides McKinnon? Okay, McKinnon, Kyle Pitts, Marquise.
Dude, talk about a non-competitive player in our league. He's one of the least competitive players, too.
Man. Dude, he just needs to make one more move.
He should have Foreman on his team. Like,
oh, dude.
He's just not good at fantasy football. I try to, like, be nice, but, like, dude,
wait,
good.
Did he win last year?
Yeah.
I don't think he had a good team last year, but he did win. I mean,
yeah, because it's the same thing that I say on Fantasy Football Aces is that the whole only goal you should have in fantasy is to make the playoffs. Once you make the playoffs,
after that, it's a new season.
Anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen.
Let me see. Hurts, Jalen Hurts, Rashid Rice. I love Rwando Robinson this week. He's actually getting targeted a lot, especially with Daniel Jones out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyrod's actually getting it done.
I like her Thielen's team.
Yeah,
he doesn't have Chase this week, but
he has Eckler back now too.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll probably go with automatic Pickens this matchup.
I did too. Moving on to Physics Dream Team versus Whoopsie, who still hasn't decided on a quarterback.
Is this how it's gonna be? I mean, it's just, man, you have all these Dak on a bye. Ferguson, obviously Dallas. I mean, he did. So he's not starting a quarterback at all.
He's going to, man. I don't know what's going on.
It's not. Now. I mean, dude, there's so many quarterbacks, and you could pick up a tight end to make it at least competitive. But I love what Kyle did with his stack with Kelsey and Mahomes. Although nobody thought that Kamara would be that good.
Is he? I don't know what he's doing, man. Matos. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's going to drop Charbonnet and get a quarterback. And then...
You would drop Charbonnet over Dalvin Cook?
Good question. I would drop Dalvin Cook, actually. Yeah, so, I mean, I would drop either one of those guys. To be honest, I'd drop both of them or Hubbard and get a tight end. I think that it's that important on a week-to-week basis try to start everybody.
Especially points. What if that 6th spot comes to
points?
He
has he has money too, fab money.
Oh.
So no, he doesn't actually. He spent it all on Ford.
Okay.
But still, though, I'm not really sure what he's doing because I saw him pick up a quarterback in Platinum, so I know he's at least aware.
Okay.
I just don't. I mean, if he doesn't, I mean, he'd be in grounds to get kicked out of the league if he doesn't fix this roster.
I mean, there's
it's 11:30
out there.
11:40.
Dobbs can start in that spot.
Easy.
Dobbs been, he's a runner too.
Buddy, he could have picked up Geno Smith the whole time, and then he let Kyle play defense on him this morning.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, it's smart. I would have done the same thing.
Was there ever a rule against that? Because I know that was big last year on playoffs.
There's no rule.
Pick up and drop.
Yeah, but Yahoo, they know about that, so they like the day of, it won't happen. Like if you drop and pick up somebody, they stay a free agent
on the day of.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh really? I mean, that'd be nice.
I'm pretty sure that you can't do that because of that reason. But because I've tried to do that before. Like I've tried to fuck somebody over like that. Yeah, by any means, man. Yeah. By any means. Dude, if it's under the rules, it's in the rules. I don't.
Dude, this is a $2,000.
That's why I dropped. I sat all my players last week to try to let you get in the playoffs. Because I thought your team was inferior, and it's subjective. But at the end of the day, it's game theory, and I wanted to eliminate the fact of Shane and High possibly.
Yeah, they had good teams last year.
So it is what it is, and within the rules, man, it's within the rules unless we make a rule outside of it, which we've done now.
Oh yeah, there's some rules that we put in play that Yahoo doesn't. Let me see. So who do we have next?
This is it. You got Dream Team. So do I. We got some questions. We got ones from your boy Martin.
Oh,
but
my back hurts from carrying our team.
Connor, he says pick one: Jeff Wilson, Rashee Rice, or Palmer. Full point PPR.
Joshua Palmer?
Yes.
Why is that a question then? Wouldn't it be Joshua Palmer? He's actually looking pretty good this year.
I think you're in a coin flip between Rashee Rice and Palmer.
Yeah.
I would start Palmer as well because he's getting 90% plus snap share.
He's looking good.
And he hasn't had a big game yet, but he had that touchdown called back last week.
Yeah.
I think that you're okay starting with Rice too, because I think Rice is actually gonna go up to like 70% snaps this week. I think that they realize it now that
he gets
he's
targeted when he's there.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
And but to be safe, Palmer's probably the better play. Jeff Wilson, you're not starting until you see him actually start to play. I know that I think he's gonna go 40, 60 with Mostert this week. But they're playing against Philly. I don't expect them to be able to do anything off on the ground.
One of those,
I think it's going to be a Tua show against Philly.
He just texted me, back hurting. My goodness.
Yo, start one of these three players: Zay Flowers, Terry McLaurin, or Jacoby Myers. Full point PPR.
Ooh,
for me that's easy. Zay Flowers.
Man,
I'm starting Zay Flowers no matter what.
Zay Flowers against Detroit? Okay, I mean that's pretty tough. I wouldn't start Myers just because of Hoyer's there. I mean he's okay, but I think I'm gonna go with Terry. He's been playing well as of late. Terry McLaurin and Sam Howell, they're starting to get on the same page. So yeah. I mean that's just my opinion. I mean Zay Flowers, he's exciting, explosive. But yeah,
I like Zay. I'm not taking Zay out of my lineup. If he's a auto start for me. I think Terry is like right on the cusp of being an auto start. For some teams, for most teams, he probably is an auto start. But Zay, he's getting 9+ targets every week, no matter what. He is the true wide receiver one in that offense. Lamar Jackson's a veteran at this point, opposed to Sam Howell. In theory, their offense is better. Their team is better. I just think Zay is like an auto start. I'm not pulling Zay out of my lineup. Like he's an auto start. Hines Ward, Correa. Thoughts on Olave trade? Ride it out. No, Olave. I disagree with Correa on that. I think last week he had this past week on Thursday he had 13 targets. Yeah. I think that I personally said before the year started on FFA, I said the Saints were a no draft team. And this is the reason why. You're looking at a team that they're not that great offensively. Olave, that's going to affect him, right? Like these teams that I said were no draft list teams, they have good players in their team. Justin Jefferson's at Minnesota Vikings essentially was right on the cusp of being a no draft list team for me. And the reason I say that is this. And it's something that people need to understand is that, yes, Justin Jefferson is elite, but where his draft position was, where his capital was, you could have drafted a player on a different team in a better offense, i.e. Christian McCaffrey or somebody like that. And then you wouldn't be going through this injury now with Justin Jefferson, which obviously is just bad luck. But the point of it I'm making is that Olave, for example, he's a great fantasy football player. He got 13 targets last week, but you're in an offense that can't move the chains on third down. Where Olave was drafted, which was like second roundish, you could have went with somebody, who was in a better offense in the second round, maybe a running back, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like I can't remember exactly what people were around in the snake format. But the point is like try to avoid the teams on bad offenses because, or at least that you can predict you think are going to have bad offense. Like I thought the Saints before the year started were going to be a bottom 10 team in the NFL. Their defense has actually been surprisingly much better than I thought they were going to be, which has kept them in a lot of games and kept them very competitive in the NFC South. But Olave and the Saints, they're not moving the chains on third down. They're not scoring touchdowns. They're not getting in the red zone. So inevitably, Olave's, not as good. But the problem is trying to trade him, what are you going to get for him? It's not like you can trade high on him. He's just an auto start for me, man.
Trade based on the targets, I guess. I mean, Carr.
But what can you get for him?
If you're looking for wide receiver, honestly, I would take, off the top of my head, Marquise Brown.
You would take him over Olave.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would never do that.
Really? Because, dude, Marquise Brown, he's getting the targets. He's looking a lot better. Kyler Murray coming back. I mean, I expected more from Carr. The only thing he can do is throw the long ball. It may not be accurate, but
yeah.
Olave, he's.
I would just auto start him.
Yeah, no, definitely he's an auto start. But if you're looking for trade value,
the one thing I said to people in the past when they asked me about trades is I say, listen, I wouldn't have drafted Olave, or I wouldn't have drafted so and so, whoever it is. But because you did, you live with it. You auto start him, and that's it. Like,
you got to sell him on a high week with the targets.
You could do that, but psychology's a son of a bitch, because when he has that good week, you're not going to want to trade him. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
And that happens to me plenty of times too. Like, where I'm like trying to sell, and psychology's so tough. When they have a good week, you're like, oh shit, now I don't really want to sell them, because you think that you don't think anything. It's just psychology, man.
You're like, you're glad you have them.
It's hard to like battle that part of the psychology.
You ever thought about trading Mostert?
I tried to trade Mostert so many times this year, and thank God everybody doesn't want him.
Really? Why though? I mean, because
people are silly, man. Like, you know who I've made the greatest offers to, and they didn't. I offered Mostert, and DeAndre Hopkins for Jamar Chase. Before
how soon?
Before Jamar had the big 40-point week.
Okay. Oof.
And he declined because he didn't think Mostert was that.
Really? I mean, that's a.
I offered Mostert and Mark Andrews for Kelsey, and Gary declined that.
Why would you do that though? What?
This is before Mostert. This is when Mostert was like, so man, like. Don't get me wrong. I always loved Mostert. Through all the ebbs and flows before the injuries from Achane.
He's a good runner.
I'm good with having him in there with Achane. Me and you have talked about this.
Oh yeah. There's plenty to go around.
But here's the thing. I love the James Cook too. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna sell Mostert to upgrade somewhere at receiver.
Yeah.
And or I wanted Travis Kelsey to get that outlier at tight end. And They all denied my trades, and I'm happy they did. Now I'm so happy.
Definitely worked out.
But it's like people didn't really believe. People don't believe in Mostert, and I don't really know why. It's so funny because if you look at advanced analytics right now, I know he's in a great offense and whatnot, but like the advanced analytics are showing that he's an elite running back too.
He is a very good running back.
He's top 5 in yards after contact. He's top 5 in like of multiple different advanced analytic categories that are just individual as the runner. They're independent of the offense they're in. So throwing the fact that he's in the Miami Dolphins offense too, he's pretty much matchup proof. He can even have a good game against Philadelphia this week.
I don't see why not. I mean, he's been in that system for a good while back in San Francisco too.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think he's gotten a bad rap for, which I've argued with people about, is that they say he's injury prone, but I argue that that's not true.
Well, what's your definition of injury prone though? So the thing about Mostert for me was, the reason why I consider him injury prone is throughout the year he'll miss 1 or 2 games. I mean, knock on wood, he hasn't this year. But I mean, other people's definition might be like, oh, he's out for like a long span of time, injury prone, but. I mean, this year he's looking great.
So I argue that because I don't think there's any basis for that either. Because first of all, he's been a journeyman. So when he started his career, he wasn't a starter, deep in the depth charts, almost like a practice squad kind of guy. Found his home in San Francisco, worked his way up to finally being able to be like a 50-50 guy. And he had a good year, and then he had that immaculate playoff run where he rushed for like 200 yards against Green Bay, had a huge playoff run with the 49ers. And then they said, okay, this is going to be our starter next year. Next year it rolls around, tears his ACL. Done. But after that, he never came back. And then he went to the Dolphins and he became, the guy out of necessity essentially. And, he was healthy all year last year, really. I had him, I know. And until Jeff Wilson came and basically stole his role, he was 50-50 with him. And then now this year he's fully healthy and like he looks like like a different runner this year. And age is really irrelevant because, as I said, he's a journeyman who hasn't been getting a lot of run. So technically, he's got young legs.
He does.
He hasn't really been in the NFL as a starter.
I'm really curious how that's gonna play out once Achane comes back. I feel like they got to trade somebody.
I don't know what's gonna happen either.
That's. I mean, Jeff Wilson's good too when he's healthy.
I initially thought Jeff Wilson wouldn't see the field this year before Achane got hurt. I thought it was just going to be Mostert and Wilson, or Mostert and Achane. And then Achane got hurt, so that's going to give Wilson an opportunity to come in. I think it really all depends on how he looks. If he looks good again.
Who, Achane?
No, Wilson.
Wilson.
If he looks good again, then, you know, I think that they're going to, you know, let Achane, the same thing that they did to Wilson, they're going to let him rest and rest and rest until he's 1,000% ready. And then when he comes back, he will be the number one. And then I think Mostert and Wilson will determine, between those two will be whether who's playing better at the time and or who's healthy. I think it's one of those situations where Miami's like, you know what? We're probably only going to have 2 or 3 of these guys healthy at a time.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But in let's say hypothetically, they're all 3 are healthy. I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen.
That's crazy. The funny thing about fantasy is when somebody's like ready to come back, I mean, one person always gets injured to fill in that space. I really think that either Jeff Wilson, I mean, I'm not bad juju on you, but either Mostert or Jeff Wilson's going to get hurt by the time Achane's ready to come back. I don't know why. It just always happens that way.
It could. I think that it definitely could. I that's one of the reasons why I've really decided that I'm not going to make any moves this year. Because I'll keep James Cook and have that extra body when one of my guys get hurt. Yeah. I think I inevitably will suffer some kind of minor injury, at least a minor injury to either Pollard, Swift.
Have you had any injuries this year?
Yeah, I've had Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. Okay,
but other than that, though, I've been pretty fortunate with injuries so far this year. But I have depth, though, to cover my injuries as far as running backs are concerned, quarterbacks are concerned, and even receivers. As the league knows, I'm very high on Jameson Williams. I even think that he this week and last week could be a run of me not taking him out of the lineup anymore.
Really?
Because of the high ceiling.
So you're waiting on that one bomb.
He's already had the bomb last week.
No, I know, like throughout the week, I'm saying.
I think no. I think Jameson Williams is capable of being a top 5, top 10 receiver in the NFL, fantasy wise and receiving wise in the NFL. It's a matter of getting the snaps. He's only getting 20% of snaps right now, so that's the issue. If he was getting 80% of snaps,
that I agree with.
Then he'd be elite. Last week against the Buccaneers, he ran a 15-yard stop on the left side against Dean, and he was so butt naked. Goff underthrew him, and he had to dive for it, and he dropped it. But like, I don't count that as a drop personally. If he's running plays and routes like that on the regular, you're talking about a guy who's going to be.
He's definitely talented.
Significantly good.
Does Dan Campbell like him that much though? That's the question.
He don't like him at all. But it doesn't matter though. I think once the talent overrules everything eventually, and he went to a Red Wings game after the Buccaneers win in the community. And it seems like, somebody's maybe advising him or whatever, but he seems like he's starting to get on the right track as far as that's concerned. As far as Detroit is concerned, the city, they're like, they want him to play so bad. It's ridiculous. Like they're like 20%. They're like, bro, put this kid in all the time. And of course, greedy fantasy people like me, they wanted to do the same, but I get it. I understand it. I don't really understand Detroit's philosophy in general, though. I don't understand what they're doing with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Well, we'll find out this week. I mean, he's had a chance before, but maybe
it's a tough matchup though against Baltimore.
Dude, you see, was it week 1 where he was averaging like 6-7 yards per carry? Dude, he's looking nice. They just need to use him properly.
Yeah, I don't get it though. I don't really get them. They drafted Jameson 12th overall. They drafted Jahmyr Gibbs 11th overall.
Is he having trouble with the playbook at all, or why is he Jameson?
Well, Jameson's it's fairly simple. I mean, he came off the ACL, so he missed all last year because of that. And then, he came in on the end of the year last year, but they were kind of out of it at that point, and there was no point of rushing him in, so they just kind of like eased him in. And then this year they were on track for him to be the number 2 receiver and playing 90% plus snaps, and boom, he gets suspended for gambling on whatever, which turns out is a little bogus because the NFL's kind of reverted back on it now.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I believe Dan Campbell comes from the old school philosophy and mentality. He's a good old white boy who like just wants the players to be accountable. He wants them to be like. I don't blame him for this. He wants them to treat their job like it's a job. You know, I mean, be somebody we can rely on, right? So if we can't rely on you to be here because you might fucking bet on a game and get suspended, then why should we put you in the starting lineup? And I think that's one of those situations where they're just easing him in, right? But when he catches a bomb against the Bucks,
how could you not?
Like that wasn't even just a bomb against the Bucks. That was a big play. A 3rd and 10. They're only up.
It was
4
a good
points.
adjustment. It was underthrown.
Forget the play.
It was real good.
Forget the play. I mean the significance of the play. Like it went up 2 scores on the Bucks. They were in a hell game. They could have gone either way. It's a 3rd and 10. It's a big play in the game. That's what I mean by that. It's like forget the play itself. The play was good, yes. But like it was a significant play. One of those kind of plays that wins you a game. Then it's hard to say, okay, wait, this guy's a difference maker for our team.
Maybe he'll finally realize that.
But yeah, I mean, I'm willing to dart throw him at receiver because I think Hopkins, his floor is very nice. Don't get me wrong. But his ceiling is not what Jameson is, and I think I can afford to like dart throw Jameson every week going forward.
What's going on with Tannehill? I know he got hurt.
Yeah,
is it bad or
they got a bye week, so we'll see after the bye week.
If Malik is in there, Hopkins is not really reliable there.
I mean, I think either way, there he's you saw what happened last week. It's just. Their offense is bad. It's same thing you would say about Olave, right? Like I would say Olave's in a better situation than Hopkins. So yeah, I mean, so then when you put it in that perspective, it's like, yeah, they're both bad offenses, man, and that's what you want to try to stay away from. That's what I've been trying to emphasize.
Did you hear that they're not going to trade Henry?
Yeah, I don't think they should trade anybody. I don't think.
Why not Henry? I mean, give him. Send him to a.
Well, I know why you're thinking that.
No. I mean, I got Spears too, but regardless of that, I mean, give Henry a shot at championship or somewhere he can make a difference. It's already losing season.
He's a staple
anyway.
of that team, man, in that city, and dude, I don't think you get rid of him personally.
You got to get draft capital, especially when he still has it. But
I mean, Vrabel's still trying to win, man. I don't know. I don't think they're giving up on this season yet either. It's a little. They're
gonna have to. You got Malik in there.
It's a borderline team right now, and I know the trade deadline's at the end of the month, but I guess it would. Coincidentally, they have a bye this week, so they don't get to learn anything from this past week. But I don't know. I wouldn't trade Henry personally. I see a couple different trades possibly happening in the NFL, but hopefully nobody gets traded to teams that I have stock in, because I've seen rumors of that kind of stuff.
I heard Devontae's not getting traded either. Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that would be a trade I'd like to see. They have no chance, in my opinion, and they messed up signing him. The whole situation is fucked. I think I'd like to see him go to somewhere that he could.
Devontae went into Oakland or Vegas thinking he'll go back to his college quarterback.
Yeah,
they ship him out the year after. Man. Yeah. Then you get stuck. I mean, Jimmy's been playing well.
Nah.
Yeah, dude.
I think Jimmy G is so bad.
Dude, Jimmy, he's good enough to put up fantasy points for Myers and Devontae. Only them, basically. He has 20 throws.
If you're talking about
go to Adams and
if you're talking about fantasy, sure, they consolidated.
Only fantasy.
I mean, he's still bad for fantasy, but I know what you mean for the receivers.
For the receivers.
For the receivers, he's fine. But overall, though, it's the same thing that I've said about the Saints, the same thing you said about Tennessee. they're not able to move the chains on third down consistently.
Yeah.
You want players in fantasy football that can move, their team can move the chains on third down, because if they're at a high percentage on third down, that means that you're getting more opportunities every drive to possibly get a target, a catch, a rush, anything you're in that offense for. It's really important to target players in good offenses that can move the chains on third down. I know it sounds simple, but it's so true. I know a lot of times people try to find these guys in bad offenses because in theory you're like, well, somebody's got to get it right. But it bites you in the ass in a season-long format because, sure, they can have 1 or 2 good weeks, even Adam Thielen, who's having a monster season. But it's a matter of time before that, he really lets you down in significant spots. I wouldn't necessarily. I'd be happy to have Thielen. Don't get me wrong right now, but there's going to be so many times that they're not moving the chains on third down, and it's just like your guy's just going to the sideline at that point. We have one question.
Right, yeah.
Miami defense or Bears defense? I think that's a bad option. You're definitely going to start Miami. That's a no-brainer. But there's got to be somebody in free agency you can pick up, buddy.
Dude, you want to start Miami against Philly? I mean, yeah, like you said, I would rather pick up somebody else.
You got to pick up somebody. I would pick somebody up, but between those two, I mean, there's the Bears. What are you talking about? Like they're literally the worst defense in the NFL.
Vent about the Bears.
I mean, come on. This guy said Miami or the Bears.
Oh,
between those two,
yeah. Between those two, yeah. But you gotta find somebody else.
Yeah, I would find somebody else for sure. Who do you think is going to be the 6th seed in the playoffs if we keep the 5 in that we are at?
Let me see.
Has Whoopsie made any move yet? Nope.
Okay. Dang, it's close. So 6-0, 5-1, 5-1, 4-2, 4-2, and then you have that 6th spot.
I think those 5 are definitely locks for the playoffs.
I really hope so because I'm in there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, you got a lot of points and you're 5-1, buddy. Yeah. You're going to be fine, I think.
Let me see. Let's see. Whoopsie's team. Whoopsie. Automatic picking. Automatic picking is having a okay season considering
he's got a good team, man.
Considering that
I think Rashee Rice's stock is going up.
Oh yeah,
he's got
Eckler coming back.
He's got a good team.
Tyreek
Chase is on the bench.
Yeah, Chase. Yeah, I see that too. So right now, automatic is my pick. Let me see. Hurts Thielen's.
Hurt Thielen's team is pretty good, to be honest.
I mean, Adam Thielen's carrying them.
Yeah.
Lamar. Okay. Let me see.
Olave and Devontae Adams, 2 guys that we were just talking about.
Comeback Kid. Yeah. Oh, I like Comeback Kid actually. Just because only if Burrow turns it around, which he did last week.
But he's got golf too.
Yeah, I know. But you got to figure Burrow.
I don't know, man. Golf
is playing well.
I'm telling you, if Jameson Williams is who I think he is, that's a great quarterback to have right now.
I would say either Comeback Kid or Automatic is pretty good. So either my choice would be those 2 for that 6th spot.
Yeah, I think that it's between those 4: Whoopsie, Automatic, Hurt Thielen's, and Comeback Kid. Ironically, they're the 4 that are at the top of that list. But for me, I think Comeback Kid. I think that his team. The problem is he's gonna have a hard time deciding which people to start in certain positions. But on top of that, he's dug himself a little bit in a hole with points. Like, look, for example, like Hurt Thielen's has 679 points compared to Comeback Kid's 594.
Yeah, he's got to get those wins.
And then on top of that, like Comeback Kid, unfortunately, I think JT is going to be on a 50-50 split with Moss the rest of the year.
He's having a hell of a season.
Yeah, I think they're in a 50-50, and that just sucks. I don't think that's the kind of offense that can support 50-50 like Miami. Like, it sucks. Yeah. You don't want want guys in 50-50 splits on mediocre offenses. You want guys like that's the reason why I was against Herbert last year. For example, remember we used to argue about Herbert? It wasn't because I didn't think Herbert was a decent player. Like obviously I liked him this year. But it's because, like, when you're in a mediocre offense in a 50-50 split, then you're not going to get shit, man. You really are touchdown dependent. And he needs JT to really turn it on for him to have a chance at the playoffs. I think if JT really turns it on, he could be a playoff team for sure. And he'd be a scary playoff team.
He has a good team.
He'd be a scary playoff team.
He has a good team.
But Hurt Thielens has got a pretty good team when James Conner's back. Automatic Pickens has a pretty good team, and Whoopsie has a pretty good team too. So it's going to be between those guys, and it's going to be a battle, man. And it's going to come down to points, and Automatic Pickens has a head start on them with the 708. He's got a good amount of points, and I think he's in good position because Eckler's already had his bye. Jamar Chase has his bye now, he's got his like. If he can somehow pull out a win this week, he's in really good position. Unfortunately, he's made some bad decisions, or else he'd be 3-3 right now because he made a couple bad starts earlier this year that I paid attention to, and I was like, oof. If he would have started him, he would have won, and I would have started him.
Well, we'll see because Automatic and Hurt Steelers play each other this week.
Yeah. As far as the NFL is concerned. Who do you have making to the Super Bowl in the NFC, and who do you all have making in the Super Bowl in the AFC? First of all, I want you to say who you would have said before the year started, because now is much different. And then once you have those picks, which one will win? You could talk about that. I'm gonna take a piss real quick.
Yeah. Oh,
sorry.
Yeah. Oh, before I forget, I gotta say hi to my kids. And my wife Dolly. Hi Olivia. Hi Brady. All right, let's see. So this year, NFC. Detroit's got a good team. Let me see here. 49ers look unstoppable. Eagles, okay. Detroit, Dallas, definitely not. So from the NFC, I really do like Detroit as a dark horse, especially if Jared Goff plays as well as he is now. But it's going to be tough to beat out San Francisco or Eagles. But before the season, I probably would have said San Francisco. They're just well put together, especially with CMC.
They're loaded.
Yeah, they're definitely loaded. I would say San Francisco, dark horse, Detroit. AFC, Miami looks good, but I don't think they're put together for that long run, especially with the better teams you saw in Buffalo. So I would say it really comes down to Buffalo and KC. Man, AFC, I didn't realize they were...
So the official pick was San Fran on the NFC?
Yeah, San Fran.
Yeah, there's no way you talk to High on a regular basis and you're not going to pick San Fran.
No.
It's going to seep in your brain.
Dude, San
No,
Fran,
I agree.
They're definitely put together.
No, they're my Super Bowl winning team this year. I picked San Fran over KC.
Oh, over KC. Yeah, dude, I didn't realize AFC is not looking that good as far as like a powerhouse.
I think KC's unbelievable.
KFC and Buffalo, man,
I think
that'd
KC's
be nice.
I think KC, Miami are the top two teams in the AFC, personally.
Okay, the way that Buffalo handled Miami.
It's a different team though, because Milano's gone now.
I don't like Buffalo.
Tre'Davious White got hurt too. They had both of those guys in that in them, and both of those guys are arguably their best two defensive players.
They got Vaughn back. I don't know how he's looking, but he came back.
Huge loss from Milano. Though.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Huge loss from Milano.
I would love to pick Buffalo, but I don't think they have like mental letdowns. They don't take things seriously. So I guess you got to go KC and San Francisco. If it's down to that, man. guess man, it's tough. I'm a big fan of Purdy. I don't know if he can make those big time throws to keep up with Mahomes. Man, that's tough. I'll probably say KC with Andy Reid.
I got San Fran over KC. Mm-hmm. I just think the defense is going to be too much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that as far as San Fran is concerned, offensively, Purdy doesn't have to do too much, man. It's just a well-oiled machine, man. It's like he calls hike, and it's like everything's out there for him to perform well. I made this. We talked about this a couple podcasts ago. I think that San Francisco. I love Purdy. Don't get me wrong. I think he's great. But like, I think you can interchange a lot of quarterbacks in that system, and they do phenomenal as Purdy is. Like, for example, if you put Baker Mayfield on San Francisco, don't you think he'd be great?
I feel like, dude, Purdy is so well composed back there. I mean, he has a lot of weapons. You know, he has a great old line, so he has plenty.
It's a well-oiled machine, man.
Yeah,
it's not like he's out there like making like these dime throws that like nobody else can make. People are naked.
And that's true. I mean, you got to focus on CMC, and you got playmakers all around you. So, I mean, but I mean, to his credit, he hasn't really made a mistake.
He's good, man. Yeah. I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying that Baker Mayfield in that offense could be doing what he's doing, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I make that comparison because they look fairly similar as far as their build is concerned.
Except for our O-line. Oh, are you talking about like individually? Quarterback? Oh, okay.
They're like the same height. They're like all the same attributes, in my opinion. I think Baker maybe has a more talented arm, but I don't think it's by much. I just think they're interchangeable. But I don't know though. Purdy's good, man. The thing I admire about him the most is I can tell how confident he is.
Oh yeah,
and that goes a really long way in everything in life, let alone being a quarterback of an NFL franchise. It's just being confident and knowing, you know, who you are and what you can do, and you can see it in him when he's playing that like he just thinks and knows that he's going to do well. And when it's like that, man, it goes a really long way.
It definitely shows. I mean, he's, you know, at that point, you don't have really much to lose. You're Mr. Irrelevant, you know, come in, take the team to the playoffs.
I mean, fuck, you go to the NFL and start for the San Francisco 49ers. You're doing pretty good in life. Let's move on to the DraftKings lineup of the day.
You play Prize Picks at all? It's similar.
I don't know. I just do the DraftKings lineup. I do the 777 every week, and I will give that lineup to you today. It is going to be the one. Damn, it didn't save. Yeah, it did. Wait a minute. That's weird. Let me refresh this. Because I changed this lineup. There it is. So in the bottom right is going to be my main lineup for the week. It's going to be Matthew Stafford. I bounced around with quarterbacks a lot this week for my main lineup, and it's the one on the bottom right here. Let me go full screen here. Sorry. Bottom right here, my mouse is on it. I went with I tried to flirt with starting Hoyer as my quarterback for Vegas against the Bears this week. I think that's a sharp little play because he's only 4,700. But like, I bounced around with that idea, and you know, I shied away from it from the fact that I just think that that's going to be possibly a low scoring game, and I really want to start Josh Jacobs, which I'm starting in this lineup. And I said, you know what, if I'm going to start Josh Jacobs, I'm not going to have Hoyer or any piece on the receiving core, and I'm just going to hope that they really run the ball like crazy. And that's what I did. I also thought about starting Geno Smith against Arizona Cardinals. He had good value. And this is a really weird week for quarterbacks. There's just not a lot of good quarterbacks that have good matchups. So it's like that for a good price. So I thought about Geno Smith, but then for the same reason, I really wanted to start Kenneth Walker. And I'm like, you know, if I'm going to start Kenneth Walker, then I got to take him out. So I'm like trying to figure out what quarterback I wanted to start. There's really none for a good price this week. I thought about Jordan Love. That's probably the only other person I would have started because I want to get a piece of that Green Bay offense in my lineup, and I was thinking about getting Aaron Jones in there because they're just really bad against the run, but I don't know how much he's going to play, and AJ Dillon. So I kind of just ended up shying away and going with the safe pick, I think, in Matthew Stafford. I still think he's extremely due for some positive regression as far as touchdowns are concerned. Kyrie Williams is out, so I think, that he's going to be having to throw more. I got him paired up with Cooper Kupp in this matchup, or in this team. As I said, I got Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker, who are getting all the volume. Charbonnet's out, and they're going against teams that, in theory, they should have big games against. And then at the flex, I went with Jerome Ford, the Cleveland Browns running back. I wanted to get a Brown in my lineup against the Colts. I wanted to get Amari Cooper in the lineup, but it just didn't fit to what I was doing. I thought about starting Deshaun Watson at quarterback, but I just ended up settling for Jerome Ford because I like the price. He's only $5,100. I think that Kareem Hunt is questionable, and I think Jerome Ford could possibly have a big game. I went with Rashee Rice as my cheap receiver and Jameson Williams as my cheap receiver.
Jameson.
They're both really cheap, but they have a chance to have huge games. That's the theory behind it. Is like I don't love either one of them, but like they're cheap and they could possibly have huge games, and that's the kind of key there. I went with the cheapest defense I can find this week, which was the Lions against Baltimore. I think they're a really sneaky defensive play this week. The Lions have a really good defense, and on top of that, Lamar Jackson, he does turn the ball over. He gets sacked. I can see that game being a low-scoring game. So I don't know. Like I have bounced around with my main lineup quite a bit this week. I still may not settle for this one. I really want to get Aaron Jones in my lineup. So there's a chance I get Aaron Jones as my flex, and then go with a cheaper tight end, and which is the tight end for the Raiders. Mayers. There's a chance I do that. I went with Musgrave against that. That's the one Green Bay Packer I got in my lineup. So if I did that, I would get Aaron Jones in, and then I would switch my tight end to my Mayers, and then that would be my it would be a double stack with Josh Jacobs. Unfortunately, like I try to get a different player on each team because I feel like that gives you the opportunity for the highest ceiling. Besides the quarterback receiver stack, I think that's always a smart thing to do. In my other $300 one that I did Jordan Love as my quarterback against the Broncos. I think that's a sharp play. Kenneth Walker, Pacheco, Christian Watson paired with Jordan Love, Romeo Doubs paired with Jordan Love, Rashee Rice again. Again, he's cheap, and I just think that he has high ceiling. I got Mark Andrews, a more expensive tight end with Josh Jacobs. I got a lot of Josh Jacobs stocks in every single lineup almost, and Kenneth Walker in almost every single lineup. I just think those are your two best running backs on the slate. But it's a weird week this week for DraftKings. Quarterbacks are tough because the good quarterbacks, i.e. Josh Allen and whatnot, they're expensive and they have a tough matchup.
So you think Green Bay is just gonna put offensive?
I don't think that.
I mean, you have you paired them up with in this lineup anyway.
In this lineup, so my main lineup, I shied away from Jordan Love for the reason that I am nervous because I think that he's that bad. And Denver, they played better defense against Kansas City last Thursday, and they got they had what you call a semi bye week because when you play on Thursday, you get the extra time. I think that they're playing better defense than most people think right now, and Green Bay sucks on offense, man. And so I shied away, but then I hedged it with this lineup. Like, gotcha. Fuck it, like if I'm gonna go for it, I'll go for it. Yeah. And I went Love, Dobbs, and Watson, right?
Yeah, everybody's scoring on Denver, but they have getting better. I mean, they have the names though. Denver has that defensive. They have a lot of names on defense, but
In one of my $1 million the $20 million dollar ones, I did one with Pat Mahomes. I got Pat Mahomes, Walker, Ford, Watson, Rashee Rice, and Wan'Dale Robinson with Kelsey. And then Deontay Foreman, your boy.
Yep.
In the flex. He's cheap.
Yep.
I normally I like to go with the cheap running back who's like a Foreman, for example, but they bumped up his price to $4,800. And at $4,800, he's only $300 off of what you can get Ford for. Ford, you can get him for $5,100, and I'm like, I'd rather have Ford on all my lineups than Foreman.
I don't think Hunt is he playing or is he not playing? Hunt.
He's still questionable. But and then in one of my other $20 lineups, I went with the Seattle thing. So I did the Geno Smith. I took Kenneth Walker out of my lineup in this lineup because I have Geno, and I paired him up with Lockett and JSN because they say DK Metcalf could be out, and if that happens, this lineup's pretty sexy with Amari Cooper, Ford, Mark Andrews, and Pacheco with Commanders defense. I did Lions, Commanders, Lions, Giants, and Chiefs as my defenses. None of them are like great, but they're all good value.
Is that how you usually do for daily fantasy for the defenses?
It's hard, man. Like the really good defenses will cost you like $4K against the good matchups. So you try to find the ones that like the Commanders, Giants, they both are playing against each other, and they both potentially can go crazy this week because they're bad.
Yeah.
I think the Lions. I think I'll be standing alone.
I like the Lions.
Me too.
I like the Lions.
But a lot of people aren't going to like them because they respect Lamar and Ravens.
Yeah, but he does turn the ball over, fumbles, sacks.
The Chiefs were like one of the cheapest ones there is. But because they're going against LA.
Are they in LA or are they in KC?
I think they're in LA.
Okay.
But even with that being said, they're a good defense. And, you know, unless you get a touchdown out of your defense, which is ideal.
Pretty similar.
Yeah, it's not going to make or break, in my opinion. I don't know, though. But as you can tell in all these lineups, there's lots of dart throws. It just is what it is. You have to do that. And especially if you get a guy like Kupp in your lineup, like I did, who cost $9K. If he doesn't have an enormous game, this team's gonna bite the dust. And I'm thinking he's gonna have an enormous day because I saw that Pittsburgh played man-to-man, one-on-one against Pickens early in the year. And remember, Pickens cost that.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, if they do that bullshit with Kupp, Kupp's gonna go crazy on them. I'd
rather Kupp than Puka.
For sure.
No, I mean this week.
This week,
yeah, because we're playing each other.
But I agree. Though. I think Puka will have like a good floor game against Pittsburgh. I love Puka.
Yeah.
I think
he's a good pickup.
He's the best. I mean, literally the best. He dropped a touchdown last week, or else he would have had another big week. I think that this week. I predict he's gonna have about 7 or 8 catches today for 70 yards, and then you're lucky. I'm lucky if I get a touchdown. You're lucky if I don't. But right around there, 10 or 11, 12, 13 points. That's great for me. I'm happy with that every week.
They're definitely gonna pass more. So,
one common thing you could see in here is that I'm betting on Rashee Rice this week.
Dude, he's good.
I need him to fucking get on the field more, man. I think with Justin Watson out. I think Rashee has a potential of getting like 60% plus snaps this week. And if he does, he's good, man. He catches the ball. He gets upfield. He's fast. I don't see why. I bet on Jameson Williams in a few of these lineups, but that's just because he's only 3,800.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Baltimore is one of those teams that will blitz and play man-to-man. And I'm hoping for, a couple bombs. That's the only reason why. But I also am fully aware and admit that I'm a little biased with that pick.
Talent is definitely there, though.
But I'm biased, though. I know I am. I've been betting on this guy for 2 years in a row now. Yeah. I just really believe in him. All right. Last but not least, as far as what I got going on here, is my Sunday pick of the week, my betting pick of the week. This week is extremely difficult, guys. It's come down to 2 picks, so I'll give you the 1A and 1B, and I'm only gonna play one of them, which is the 1. The 1A, the pick of the week is the Lions. They're +3 on the road against the Ravens. I think you're seeing a Ravens team who hasn't really played a lot of good competition this year. The one week that they really played a good defense and a good team, in my opinion, was the Cleveland Browns. And in that matchup, they played a third string quarterback, and they really dominated that game because of that. The Browns couldn't move the chains. They were just punting on 3 and out every single time, and it gave the Ravens the opportunity to, kind of blow that game out, even though it was closer than what the score said. Besides that, though, the Ravens just haven't played a lot of good teams. I think they're a little overrated right now. I think their defense is a little overrated as well. I think the Lions may expose them a bit this week. I expect it to be low scoring. I expect it to be a really close game. In a team that's getting 3 points in a close matchup that you don't really know who's going to win outright. And in theory, I think most people at this point think Lions are a better team. I just think it's good value. I wouldn't call it a lock by any stretch, but I think Lions are the play this week for me. It's the one game this week that I feel most confident about. The second one, my 1B would be the Chargers plus 5.5 against Kansas City. I think that this play is even sharper than the Lions. I just have more confidence in the Lions personally. But the Chargers, they always play the Chiefs really close, guys. Always play them really close. If there's one team in the NFL that actually gives the Kansas City Chiefs trouble defensively, it's always been the Chargers. Like you've seen Mahomes in the past have big second halves against the Chargers, but notoriously, like, they've really contained him. And I think the only reason why the Chiefs are different this year is because they're really running the ball effectively with Pacheco. So I think they're going to lean on him a little bit more. But I liked what I saw from LA against Pollard last week. I think that they're going to play the Chiefs pretty tough. I think that the people are probably down on the Chargers because the performance that they put out against Dallas. But I think 5.5 is too much in a division game, and I think that the Chargers can possibly win this game outright. It's going to be a close game, and I would take the 5.5 points. So I guess I'm taking 2 road dogs this week.
What do you think about the Bucks? I like the Bucks.
The Bucks
against Atlanta.
Let me see why isn't all of them showing up? Ironically, they showed the ones that I actually cared about. So weird. Here we go. This is the screen that I was looking for. The Bucks are
at home. Atlanta. I'm not a fan of Desmond Ridder, so
yeah. What was the line on that one again? Where is it?
2.5? $2.5. 2. I don't know.
-$3 now. -2.5. -3. I would say that's just a no play game. I don't want any part of that disgusting game. I just think it's disgusting. I think it could go either way. It's a division game. And honestly, it's a statement game. I think whoever wins this game is probably going to win the division. So it's a huge, huge game in Tampa Bay. Fire the cannons!
I got to hope Mike Evans gets that touchdown.
Oh, yeah, you do. You don't have season tickets anymore, huh?
No, I did. But when I try to renew, they wanted a 2-year commitment after Brady left. Because they knew, like, ticket sales weren't going to be as high. So I was like, 2 years, I don't know. Because if you don't go, it's tough to sell.
Yeah. For me personally, I backed off a couple years ago, and it was the best decision I ever made because, don't get me wrong, I do genuinely love going to those games. But the thing is that I love sitting at home at 1 p.m. and watching all the games way more. It's just so much more fun, especially with the huge investment we have in fantasy. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but like I really love this fantasy shit. Like it's like life or death. And like I think when you go to those games, man, you find yourself looking at the phone all the time, and it just I love being on the couch and just watching all the games, man. There's nothing that beats that.
That's why we try to focus on like primetime games, like at least 4 o'clock. I don't think I'll ever go to a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if you want to go to a game, just you wait for the primetime ones and just buy a single ticket. But the season ticket thing, man, I'm over it, man. I did it for a long time. I can remember. I could tell you exactly when it was. It was the year Jameis got drafted. I started, and I went on for however long that was, like 8 years, 7, 8 years. It was fun, man. It was good. But I'm really happy with not doing it anymore. Yeah. And over the years, I've graduated on to like I used to say to myself, there's nothing like going to a ball game. But now I'm starting to graduate on to like I kind of almost just prefer watching it at home. It's just the technology and the TVs are so nice, man. It's just like, God, it's hard to beat it. I think, getting in those atmospheres is probably the best part, is being in the atmosphere. But the atmosphere at Raymond James sucks, man. It's hot and nobody really gives a shit.
It's hot, and then half the stadium is filled with visitors.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is pretty bad.
So many Detroit fans last week.
It was blue.
It was blue, that's
but
typical. We stopped it with Brady, but it was only because of Brady.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Brady, that nonsense has been going on for forever. I mean, I'm a Bears fan, so
history is not quite there.
That's what it is. It's generations. Your kids. If you raise them to be Bucs fans, that's the generation that's going to solidify that stadium. Essentially, it's going to say, okay, we're not going to let visitors come in here more, because most of those visitors, they live in Tampa, for example. Like, I'm a Bears fan. If I go there, I'm going to be wearing Bears, and that's just the way it is. But I've lived in Tampa now for my whole life, essentially. We're essentially in our 30s. We're the generation that's starting the history, in my opinion. Even us, even me, I should say, because I fit that description pretty exactly what we're describing. Even me, like, I'll cheer for the Bucs because I've been here for so long. They're my secondary team, but I cheer for them. And my kids, I don't know how I would rub off on them, but I'm pretty sure that, like, I would want them to cheer for Tampa. I wouldn't really care for them to cheer for Chicago, which is kind of sad. It would end my history and my
I mean, yeah,
my family.
I mean, besides all the Chicago stuff you got going on here, for them, your kids, they won't have any ties to Chicago,
right?
But I mean, hopefully Bucs turn it around with something better.
I just think that it's possible that they see how passionate I am about Chicago, and then they would copy me. But I don't think that I would want that. I actually love Tampa, and I would want, like, I want what we're describing. Like, I want a team that doesn't let fans come to our stadiums in Tampa.
I don't know if Tampa will ever get to that point. We have had too many bad seasons. Besides the whole Brady era, honestly, I think we need to get a new coach. I mean, Todd Bowles, he's very complacent when it comes to play calling.
I think that this year so far has been his coming out party as being a coach.
Yeah. I mean,
he's been had that bad rap for a while now.
Yeah, but he's been losing those key matchups.
Yeah,
must wins that show you that the Bucs belong. It just hasn't quite been there.
Detroit's elite though. They played them tough, so I actually give him respect for that. We got thoughts on Jakobi Meyers. We kind of already answered that.
Dude,
this is a friend, but this has to be a friend, by the way, because his last name's OH.
Really? Who? Really?
Juan He.
Oh, that's my sister.
Okay.
Why? Shouldn't even what? Oh, it's for Brent, her boyfriend.
Okay. Jacoby's a beast, man. He's getting a lot of targets.
Yeah, he's definitely, man.
If you don't say Adam Thielen is the biggest surprise of the year, then it would be Jakobi Meyers.
Jacoby's doing real.
I'd be happy starting him every week.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say he's a wide receiver 2-3
playing against the Bears this week too. I flirted with putting him in a couple of DraftKings lineups this week. Sam Laporta, Baltimore, or Goddard home against Miami. 0.75 PPR. I've never seen that before, but that's pretty cool.
Really? Okay. I might go with Goddard.
I'm going with Laporta.
Really? Because I mean, okay, this is my thought process. Okay, Laporta, he hasn't been getting the volume.
He had the targets.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I care about.
He's getting there, but man, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy with the results. He has last few games. He has what? At one game, I was playing against the High. He had like 4 targets, 3 catches, like 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. It drove High crazy.
Yeah.
So
no trick play too.
Yeah. Thing about Goddard is I feel like that's going to be a shootout, in my opinion. And
I agree.
Yeah. Goddard, he played well last week. Didn't he have like
He's played good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, so
but 2 weeks ago specifically, he had the big week.
He had nothing.
No, he had the big week.
Oh, so okay.
He had a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, before he had.
I played High last week. He didn't do so well, but you could see that it's trending the right way.
I feel like it would be like a shootout, like you mentioned before. I think Detroit and Baltimore, it could be a defensive game, so I don't think there'll be too many opportunities. But as far as Is Philly and Miami primetime?
Yes, tonight.
Oh, okay, Sunday. Oh, that's
Fun
great.
game.
That's great.
Really
I mean,
fun
with
game.
that atmosphere,
Which is cool because I'll have Mostert and Swift essentially to decide our matchup.
I see.
Because you have everybody playing at 1 and 4, so those two guys are deciding our matchup.
maybe I don't want to
fun.
shoot out then. But
Yeah, but you know,
I mean, it's a good game for it though.
I think Swift's gonna have a good game. I'll say that outright. But I do not think Mostert's gonna have a good game.
Really, I mean,
So hopefully I'm not down by a lot.
yeah. So I mean, I think God, that offense is good.
I would start Laporta, man.
Laporta, it's close. I mean, if you have
Laporta's
if you
in a
have
tier
both-
ahead.
If you have both of those, trade one away.
Yeah, I agree. And then you don't have that decision
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah, just start one and just forget about it.
But the problem is you're not going to get a lot of value for either one of
But,
them.
I mean, like you said, tight end. I mean,
You probably need to wait for one of them to have a good week, whichever one has a good week, and then sell them
yeah,
because you can't predict it.
you can't.
It's
Yeah.
I know it's like we talked about the psychology of that. It's really difficult to do, but just do it. One of them have a good week, sell them.
You'll forget about it.
Love or Purdy this week, Washington D or Las Vegas. Man, I Debo's out, which hurts a lot. So for me, man,
Love against.
I probably
Denver.
CMC's in, so I probably would start Love against Denver.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's tough, man. Purdy's the guy that you would typically start. I think that's a no-brainer. But against Denver, in theory, man, Love should have a good game this week.
He should. He runs pretty well too. So he'll
Yeah.
get you those like 30, 40 yards.
He's just inaccurate.
Yeah.
And if you, by the way, one of the things about Purdy that you talked about and we agree upon is that he's really good at digesting the defense and making the right decision right away. And I would say Jordan Love's the polar opposite of that. He's the opposite of that. Like, he's got all the talent,
Yeah.
but like I don't
does
really
not-
think he
yeah.
sees the field very well. It's different offenses, different systems, etc. But they're opposites as far as that spectrum's concerned.
I agree.
I think Denver's playing a little. So here's the best answer. Love has the higher ceiling. Love is the guy who is. If you need a lot of points, if you think that you're the underdog, start Love because you got an opportunity for him to have a huge game. I think if you want to be safe, go with the floor and
Safe
go with
is always
Purdy,
Purdy.
because Purdy's gonna definitely throw for 200 yards.
Get you at least 17, 18.
You hope that he throws it to Ayuk and Kittle instead of CMC running in and everything. But that's a tough one. With that being said, we got 20 minutes to kick off. I think I need to look at a couple things and maybe change a few things with DraftKings according to injuries. James is probably in more than one league. He might check on a few things.
Definitely
So
gotta see who's
we'll
active
holla
and
at y'all. And James, good luck to you, brother.
All right, man.
I can afford to lose this week, so it is what it is. But it'd be nice to get to 7-0, man. It really
Hoping
would.
to take that number one spot back.
Yeah, you if you beat me, you're there
Yeah.
with more points. So we'll see. Unless Lee has just a big blow up game.
Yeah.
But I'll see y'all Tuesday for waivers and maybe some reactions to after tomorrow because our matchup will be done tonight. Peace.
All right.